52 weeks ago, three young men went on a little bit of an adventure, deciding to start a channel and have fun, give back to a community, and enjoy playing cards and getting told everything that was doing wrong or going wrong in every single game. And now look at us. 1 year later, 1,000 subscribers, friends all over the world. It's been an awesome adventure. Outcast Haven podcast, 52, 1 year, starts now.
That was super even keel. I was expecting
people aren't going to know what to do with that.
Subverting expectations.
Well, I just want to change it up. You can't be the same thing over and over again.
True.
You got to surprise people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You gotta have more than one trick in the bag, as they like to say.
You gotta block and attack, as people would say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just attack. Just
Shake
attack.
it up.
Yeah.
Shake it up.
What a crazy past year it's been for us.
So, just a heads up, this episode we're going to be basically doing a little recap of a year in the life of the Outcasts and figure out what we learned, what we didn't learn, what we loved, what we hated about each other, so on and so forth. If you want to skip all of that, don't care at all about what's been going on behind the scenes or what we've dealt with or any of that, then you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp right there. And then we will be evaluating the second week of Road to Nationals.
I don't see the timestamp, Dane. Dane, where's it? I don't see it. I'm looking. I'm not seeing the timestamp right now.
There.
I don't see it.
Right there.
Where is it?
Try to touch it.
In that area.
Behind the scenes, it's not always been great. It's not like we get along all the time and it's this amazing I mean, me and Dane, we've had it at each other a couple times in the beginning, trying to figure out what we want to do, how we want to do it, and different ideals of where to bring the. I mean, the anime with coffee, what a horrible idea you guys had there. I mean, that was just complete trash.
I will say fully committing to Fab was like the best thing that we could have done. I just love, I mean, we all have passions and Jason was just on like the outside of that passion. You know, me, Blake, Robert, Berkey, we all sort of love the animes, but Jason wasn't as big of a fan of that.
Oh. No, I really enjoyed Fab. I enjoyed playing Fab. And like I said, I mean, I think that's, if everything we did we agreed on in this past year is to just be complete shit.
It'd be a boring,
you know what I mean?
Boring channel.
I mean,
like just all three of us. I mean, we've all had our moment of going off of complete, like off the rails at one point of this is just stupid shit, but it's made this channel better. And I don't know, I think now we get along 100 times better than in the beginning. Like it's like a graph where it goes, everything's going great, disagreement, great, you know what I mean? And then it
trends up.
Right. And then it just gets a nice line, which it's been now for
knock
4 or
on
5
wood, dude. Knock on wood, because I'm coming. Like, you're gonna say something dumb. Like I want to live stream at game shops, like.
But like that just little stuff that we've gone back and forth, and we've figured out little things on how to bring the best content we're able to do with what time allows. And you know, like the live streams, that was a rough, because we were trying to bring those live streams to people to watch and enjoy, and then to get absolutely thrashed on because not to our fault. Internet was dropping at different stores we were at.
Yeah.
Equipment's expensive, and and let me tell you, I lug out this equipment. It's a pain in the ass. It's not fun to do. to set it up, tear it down, do all that. So it was much nicer this past couple RTNs for all the viewers to watch, to get the feedback, to get the thanks, to like, hey, well, it was worth it. People are enjoying it. They're thanking us for doing it. And we appreciate that, because if we were to keep getting hammered because the internet drops, not to our own fault, we're just not going to bring the equipment with, and we're not going to live stream. And everybody learns from watching those live streams. And we're hoping more people will start doing that in their communities, because I would like to watch other communities in other local metas and how they play as we get ready for calling. So it's not teching for Minnesota meta. You can tech for an America meta more than just your own local area. So
Yep.
I mean, that's like what I love about Dice Jar over in Dunedin. I had to learn how to say that word, because I'd never heard of. I mean, to be fair, I haven't heard a lot of places in New Zealand, but they put their stuff up every week, and I love it. Like, I put it on constantly, and I always watch their streams because I just like games. It's so helpful. And we've tried to do that and just put content out, because I know, especially with Fab, it's such a new game still. There are so many people getting into it. And I know personally, everybody has a different way of learning. Like, that's just the reality of life in general. But when it comes to playing games, I think that's true too. Some people need to physically play the cards. Like, they have to play the cards in order to learn how to play the game. Other people, they can just watch and listen and kind of, osmosis learn it. As long as they can kind of get a sense of how things are going, they can understand it. And I think providing a lot of that, content is starting to kind of flourish in the community. You're seeing, gameplay videos, people talking deck techs, but then I think you have articles written, and it's all kind of, we're working to the point now where the community is starting to be able to produce enough of everything. But I still think gameplay is that one thing that feels like it's lacking for how many people clearly play this game. Like, there could be so much more gameplay, but to be fair, to Jason's point, it's hard to set up. It's expensive to have that equipment, and it's such a huge pain. And then people, I always laugh when people are like, they say stuff about like not being responsive in the comments. It's like, well, yeah, because we're playing in the event. Like, we brought a camera. Jason brought his equipment so we could set it up and stream it so you could watch the games. We're not responsive in the comments because we're at the next table over playing a game, trying to play our round. We don't, we love this game and we love this community, but we love playing the game. So like, I'm not going to go to locals every week and like sit on the other side of a divider and do commentary. I'm sorry. I mean, if people want to like pay me to do that, I probably still won't do it, because I'd rather play in locals. Because the reality is, if I just play in the locals and win the cold foil, I basically make $50. So, that you got to like double my money in order to make it worth it for me to do the commentary. So I'm just saying, you guys want to come together and pay me $100 every week, then you still probably
you'll commentate. You'll become a professional commentator.
Yeah, I can do a commentator. I'll try to be more Al Michaels and less Joe Buck. That'll be my
Joe Buck.
Aussies and New Zealanders are like, who is Joe Buck? But they probably know who Joe Buck is, because
They probably know who Joe Buck is.
Because he always commentates Super Bowls.
Call. Worst thing ever.
He commentates Super Bowls, and everybody watches a Super Bowl, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, man. Like, people don't know.
Oh, go ahead.
I like. I kind of wanted to do so for our 1 year, and I guess this might still be up in the air, but for a video, I kind of wanted to do like a little tell-all. Do we want to just like do that like here, kind of air our dirty laundry, our grievances with each other, or are we saving that for a separate video?
I mean, some of that is for Festivus, but there is some things like worst ideas, best ideas.
Yeah.
I wanted to say so Blake wasn't over for when we first did our what the channel was.
Oh, dude,
that was bad to watch. You took it off, right? It's not on there anymore.
I took it down. It's still archived.
It should be down.
It's not there.
It's archived. It's a horrible video. Like, it was. I look at it. I'm like, God, it was just so awkward. It was the Ricky Bobby moment. You just, what do I do with my hands?
Before
just I don't know what to do with my hands. It was bad. It was really bad. But I thought it was good at the time. Remember how many takes that took?
Yeah. So
32.
for those of you who don't know me personally, if you're not like in Minnesota or haven't gotten to know me online, I can be like a bit of a perfectionist, and God bless Blake and Jason for putting up with me because I could probably be a pain in the ass to deal with because there are areas where I would consider myself an expert, and that doesn't translate into what we do with this very often, but I like to pretend it does. So like I'll say like, oh, we get like, dude, it's got to be this. And prime example, Jason wanted to keep lugging the shit out and live streaming our events, and I was like, dude, our gameplay videos just get tons of views. What's the point of doing it? Like, then you got to deal with like the internet dropping, and it's after we had gotten a bunch of comments about the internet dropping, and just I was like, dude, it's such a pain in the butt, man. Like, let's go. You can bring the stuff, just record it. We'll clean it up. We'll post it as gameplay afterwards. And Jason was like, dude, bring your own stuff then if you want to do that, because I brought my stuff and we're live streaming this bitch. And then he comes up to me after like
that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was verbatim. It was like, bring your own then because I'm about to live stream this. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, you're doing it. Comes up to me after round 2 and he's like, I hate to do this to you, Dane, but I was right. I'm like, I'm very happy to be wrong. Very happy to be wrong. Yeah. So the live stream crushed and has sense. So no, there's definitely times where I am behind the scenes. I don't say it often enough. I'm grateful that you guys put up with me. I can be picky. I can be a picky ass.
But I mean, that is also the strength of the team, is your pickiness is a lot of clean edits, especially on early videos. And then you add the amazing thumbnail artwork that Blake puts in. I mean, if anybody thinks that there is better thumbnails in the Fab community, you're wrong. Okay, you're just wrong. Just 100% our thumbnails are the cleanest, best thumbnails in the business. And I'm not saying that's because it's us. I'm just saying it because it's true. I see other thumbnails. I'm like, that's complete trash. Good content, trash thumbnail. Our thumbnails are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big strength of
there, right? It's like great thumbnails, trash content, but hey.
Yeah, it's okay. You got to lure them in. That's you just lure them in, right? It's like that's like the little piece of candy in our white van. I mean, I think the strength of us has been the fact that we all are willing to actually just kind of say what we feel too, and then I think the fact that we are willing to say it and we're willing to listen to it is a big. I think maybe it doesn't always come across that way. Maybe people, listen to us and we can kind of rail against each other sometimes, or we can get into it a little bit on things. But I think at the end of the day, it all kind of just resolves itself because we're adults. And I know I said at the end of the day, but
the amount of that's another one. Ready?
Yeah.
The amount of times I've actually edited out a decent amount of Blake's at the end of the days. I almost did a video. I don't know if I did. I didn't post it. Where I was doing a promotional video where I tally dinged every time Blake said at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, it was for the YouTube shorts. I was experimenting with like short form videos and I was like, this will be promotional for our podcast. And it was just like, ding, 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 ding. I was like, oh, I can't do this because it makes me look like I'm a dickhead towards Blake. So I didn't. But yeah, It's just one of those things.
I have thick skin. I don't really.
Another couple interesting facts about the channel. Our most viewed game for the longest time was Bravo Katsu, me and Dane in my basement for a long time. Our first video ever was Beth and Mark, my wife playing Dorinthia and Mark playing Reinhardt. That was the first game. That was the first actual gameplay we posted. That was the first one we recorded.
Was that same session where we did like our introductory like sit down? Was that?
Yep, that was that same night. We were just recording as much as we could. Now the top video that we have is Labia versus Prism, which is odd. Yep. And to my point, the lowest viewed video, Black Coffee and Anime, My Hero Academia Season 2, Episode 14 through 18. 19 views. 1 like.
Oh, that's so bad. Dude, I just love My Hero though, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I think if you had a channel surrounded in pure anime and waifu, and like your cover, like your little profile shot was big anime boobies, you would be getting the views. You know what I mean? Then people know what they're coming for.
Yeah, that's
they'd be in their robe, fresh out of bed. Oh, I wonder if they're gonna put up pictures while they talk about it today.
Well, it's so fun. Yeah, right. It's so funny because like I love that format. I love the. It's just better for a different channel. Those of you who don't know, we started with like the fishnet ideas. Like we love to play games. We love Dragon Ball Super. We love Flesh and Blood. We played Star Wars Destiny, but we didn't know where we wanted to go exactly. But we knew we wanted to have a channel. So we were doing DBS gameplay. We even did a crossover where I play tested with Tam, who is, I think his just channel is Tam Cardwell now, but where he was teaching me Universes and I was teaching him Flesh and Blood when he first got into this game. And because like MHA was coming out, has perpetually been coming out for like 2 years now, but it will get there and I will play it. But we didn't know where we were going to go. So we were just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what stuck. And turned out to be Fab. Thank God it was Fab because Fab was my front runner for basically the entirety of the channel. But we didn't want to commit too hard because it was a young game. We weren't getting a ton of views. But in hindsight, I think not committing maybe hurt us in the early game for subscribers for Fab. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, right? Like early on, we had when it came to like pure views, like gameplay wise for DBS, they always crushed. Yeah. But our Fab podcast and our live streams were really solid too. And our gameplay for Fab was really good. And then everything else surrounding any other game or any other topic was just bad. So like DBS gameplay was great, but DBS like talks or chat or podcast was bad. Whereas Fab has always done well in like this kind of format where we've been able to talk about
all of them too, like Fab.
In all the formats.
Good. Fab,
like Fab has slowly continued to just creep, right? It's climbed and gotten better and better and better to where it's taken off. And I think now people appreciate that we have people locally. I know guys that play Dragon Ball Super, but still watch all of our Fab content. I know like Matt locally, he's always like, yeah, man, I don't always know what you're talking about, but I always listen to your podcast and I always tune into your live streams and watch your gameplay, and game seems super interesting. And I don't know exactly what you're, talking about, but I like it. I like your guys' style. And I was like, it works for me. I'm cool with that. Like that, hopefully that says something about us as content creators. There's people who put stuff out there that people enjoy our format and our style, in spite of the fact that they don't even play the game that we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
Sam, I always get shocked when Sam makes comments because like Sam doesn't even play. Love Sam. He's probably wearing his mucklucks while he's sitting at home watching this right now or listening to it right now. Sam, get a new pair of boots, all right? Quit wearing the damn mucklucks around everywhere you go. But he always makes comments and always makes me laugh. I'm like, that's awesome. Sam doesn't even play this damn game, and he's still in here making comments.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for where Fab takes us because this channel will always be. This is just a Fab exclusive channel now. But if you go back after hearing this, like, oh, I like MHA, and you watch our MHA episode arc reviews, and you're like, that was dope, I want to watch more of that, leave a comment in this video because I want evidence that that's going to be worth it because I love that format, dude. I love just sitting down, being like, we're just going to take 2 hours, I'll edit it down, and we're just going to bullshit about like anime and just geek out over it. It was awesome, man. But
someone's going to comment that, and Dane is absolutely going to send the Captain Holt gif in our group chat where he just goes, vindication.
Yep. Will, absolutely. There's no vindication for 19 views though. Sorry, that had to stop on this channel. Sorry.
Oh God.
Oh, I was so bitter when the whole schedule got screwed up. We were supposed to do Flesh and Blood, and then it was came out.
Anime,
yeah, I was like, what are we doing? Flesh and Blood's getting hot. The crazy thing about this game right now is locally, we on our local page in Minnesota, I'm either approving a new member or a new member is coming on just in Minnesota almost daily, asking questions about how to play or getting help played.
Mm-hmm.
Dane answered some questions on one today,
Mhm.
and then he tags me and Blake trying to get us pawn off people on us to go teach them. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna be there.
If you wanted
No,
to
I
play
was just
Dane.
saying, like, dude, I don't play
I
chain,
know,
so
it's
I'll
funny.
teach you.
I
But
know, it's
like,
funny. But it's insane how
Yeah.
much it's growing every single day. We're past 7 days a week in Fab in Minnesota for locals, and we're doubling up now on days. We're absolutely, this is the hottest game in Minnesota. The draws are good. Like I haven't played Force of Will probably in 3 months, and I was loving it. Me and Mason were playing it. But their Grand Prix, their last Grand Prix got 43 people. Our local Road to Nationals are getting 40. So that's their big, that's almost like their calling, essentially. That is their calling, is getting 43. And we're just in separate events getting 40. And that's why I kind of swayed away. I haven't played it. I haven't had time to play it. My focus has been on Fab and in testing those decks, because as a lot of people will know, if you're trying to play 2 card games, it's hard to be really good in 2 unless you're just that person, which I am not, and can magically know everything in 2 games. My brain doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of time to do okay in a game for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've kind of primarily transitioned to playing Dragon Ball as more of a fun game. Like, I still enjoy the game. It's actually nice to have like a change of pace game in a game that I can go to locals and kind of just hang out and screw around, play decks that are fun and interesting to me. Like, I've enjoyed that as like a nice break. And honestly, even now it's hard because it's Thursday nights when we go, and a lot of times it ends up being 2 or 3 times a month because life is busy. And if I have to give up a locals, it's typically going to be the DBS locals right now. I'd rather make my Tuesdays consistent at locals here for Fab because I want to continue to see the game grow, and I enjoy showing up and seeing everybody. But that's part of why I go back to, DBS locals, is I like people that play the game. I have fun. And I think that that's a big thing with Fab right now, is the community's growing, and locally here, it's a really good community. It's a great group of players. It's a great group of people. I was going to say it's a great group of guys, but we got Rose. It's important to acknowledge it's a great group of people that we have in the community.
There was a decent number of girls who were out playing. Like it was Rose. Then at the I can't remember who's the little girl's name. They came with her dad. It's cool. And there's, I know Kristen. Actually, is Kristen selling? I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, no, like it's nice to just see overall the community growing, because it's fun.
It's cool too. I know Rose even said she made a comment on the fact that she enjoys the community as a woman in tabletop gaming. As far as like TCGs go, there are some communities that are a little more uncomfortable to be a part of. So I'm happy that it's an inviting, warm, welcoming community and not a toxic community. And that LSS, shout out to LSS for handling anybody who's toxic with an iron fist. I like seeing that too.
Dude, that made me so happy.
Yeah.
So
finish him.
Fatality.
So, I mean, besides, I don't want to do I want to save some stuff for Festivus, but I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts of the first year before we move into RTN season, results for us personally and what happened globally.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm ready to roll. Let's go.
All right.
I'm going to quick sneak in. Sorry. Totally going to sneak in here because I don't want there to be any like warning or inkling. And this is the mat so far. There's a complete compositional rework. So that's what you're getting for the preview, because we had to basically move back because the artist was not happy with the amount of work it was going to take to get it to a state that looked good. So anyways, that's where we're at. It's coming.
Okay.
But yeah.
Update. That works. We had requests for the mat, so we can make a comment about that too to let people know.
Yeah. Yep.
So we had our Road to Nationals at Atlantis Hobby on the previous day, and I was planning on going Dash all week, and once again, I go Bravo. I switched to Bravo the day of. I played really, really bad. It's probably the worst I've played in a long time. Even on stream, if you watch me, I didn't pull it back, but I misordered things, and you'll hear me say, "Shoot, I shouldn't have done that," because it's a competitive event. I can't take back once I play the card, and I even missequenced some things in a game I won. I really screwed the pooch and got greedy in a couple games. I shouldn't have got greedy in. I played really poorly. I was very upset with myself of how bad I played. But then I totally redeemed myself in the arcane draft we did while the top 8 was going, with Kano.
Yeah.
And the best Kano build I've ever did for anybody drafting arcane. It was my first time. I did lead the charge, Sunkiss Kano. So I drafted anything that had a wizard card with lead the charges and sun kisses. And so I was trying to gain life and gain action points so that I wouldn't miss on all the Kano instant abilities. So it was a lot of fun.
I only played wizard cards. I literally got all wizards, but I drafted a red and 2 yellow Voltic bolts and 2 red stirs. And then I was just like, I'm going to just start drafting every blue wizard card, and I'm going to win because people have no arcane barrier. So I just thought I can just slam stir Voltic except kill people. Except for Dane.
I drafted 4 arcane null rune.
And then
I didn't play it all. I sat down across from you, and I was like, I think I can go with the talismanic lens and help my Azalea build. I drafted the entire draft. I had 3 blues.
Yeah.
Yep. It felt good. I got 3rd. Oh, yeah. It was fine.
Me and Blake in the final 2-0 versus 2-0 match, it lasted, I would say, 3.5 minutes. That might be generous.
Maybe that might be generous. That's probably more than we played 2 games.
It was for sure under 4-minute game. Yeah. It was like, we're done. Everybody looked at us and we're like, yeah, we're done.
So
it's over.
So not that our for funsies draft during top 8 isn't super important, but that segues actually really nicely into my road to nationals experience, where I went 4-2 in week 2, and I bubbled out again, which sad face, but. My one loss was to a 5-1 Michael Berg playing Aggro Katsu, and I just was dumb. I was like, he knows I'm going to be running Aggro Prism, so he knows he's going to need to like put in like 6 attacks and stuff. So it's like, I'm just going to throw him for a loop because Bergie's a teammate. So I was like, I'm just going to wing it. I'm going to go auras, and if I can hit like a couple tomes or eruditions early, and just get like wide enough turns and drop a couple, like an extra aura or 2 in the first 3 or 4 turns, maybe I can get on top of them. Because as soon as Prism stabilizes, she stabilizes super hard. So I was like, into Rhinar, even testing that match, I took 17 and then 16 and just like stabilized after that and didn't take another point of damage. So I was like, okay, if I could do that into Bergie, he won't be expecting it. He'll be like, oh, what? This isn't aggro. I'll win. It'll be great. And that didn't happen. So he beat me there. And then to segue, this is a very poor segue because I didn't even use the piece of information on the second end that I was going to use. But fast matches. Dude, my second loss was to 5-1 Nick Kent, awesome Dorinthia player, one of the infamous Kent brothers here in Minnesota. It was just me on Prism Aggro and him on Dorinthia, and we just raced. And it was like minute 8, and we were just like, all right, sweet. Well, that was a good game. And like no hard feelings or nothing, like, because we both knew what the matchup was about to be. We both knew where it was going, and we just went, and he ended up getting his nourishing turn. He ended up getting dude, he drew the nuts. He took everything turn 1, and I was like, dude, he's got something. And not
determination.
Not spill blood. What's the
determination? Spoils of war.
Spoils of war. Thank you. Spoils of war into determination into 2. I was just like, oh, okay, all right, that's fine. We'll recover from that, and we did.
To make a point on Nick Kent. So me and him practice a lot because we live up here, and we just go back and forth. Love playing and practicing games. I played him in my 3-2 match at table 4. So if I win, I'm bubbling in. and I'm playing Bravo, which I feel super, super comfortable. I only have 12 defense reactions, so I should be fine. Didn't see many. He did the same thing to me. I've never lost. We've played that matchup a lot, and it's always close. I've never lost like that. I blocked 3 times with every card in my hand, and he still got over the top.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah. I mean,
I've also played that Dorinthia deck where it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it can't put
because it's not getting its pieces. But when you're a good pilot and you get the good cards, you just destroy your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jason and I played in round 3. Is that when
when I drew the nuts.
And Jason drew the nuts, and I mean he knows exactly how to play Bravo into aggro Katsu, and he spinal crushed me. I mean, turn 1, he went in Showtimes into grabbing a Spinal Crush and arsenaling it. And I was like, cool, I'm not going to get go again because he's definitely going to dominate that. So that's rough.
Didn't you drop, what's the aura? Didn't you drop that into a Showtime into grabbing a Spinal Crush?
Yeah. Yeah, he played Blessing, and then he drew the Showtime, and then played the Showtime, and then went and got the Spinal. I was like, great, this is fantastic. So I did exactly what I think I should have done, which was I had an E-Strike in hand, so I kind of played not the most optimal turn and kept the E-Strike because I figured math-wise I could output enough damage to make the E-Strike be the most valuable play on the next one, because I could just E-Strike him for 7 and at least get cards out of his hand so he couldn't just keep slapping me around. So I thought, okay, well, this is my best turn, so I'll arsenal the E-Strike. So he Spinal Crushes me, and then he Spinal Crushed me again, and he Crippling Crushed me, and they were all dominated, and I could just never get off turns.
It was pretty disgusting.
I just felt like I couldn't do anything. And that was a product too of a game where it was funny because I think we finished that game in about 18 minutes and just got up and walked away from the table, and everybody else was still playing, and it's like, wait, Bravo's not supposed to finish games in under 20. It's like, no, we've played this matchup literally 1,000 times.
No, if I could have everybody
1,000 times.
If I could have everybody cut me that top deck, that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah. I will say, one of these tournaments, we're not gonna all play each other in the first 2 rounds, and it's gonna be great. I mean, with 40, there was 42 people registered. Like by round, going into round 3, we had all played someone else from like our crew of 5. It's like, really? Like we all got matched up? Because like, who was your round 1?
It does suck. It does suck.
It sucks.
We end up cannibalizing ourselves. We did it with me and Dane the week before. We were both 4-2. One of my losses is to Dane. I mean, we just cannibalized. You look at how many people had the similar records at the time, and me and you get matched up. It was just like, God, that sucks. That's super feel bad.
That was the last round at the tournament. I was sitting at 3-2. I was like, okay, I'm playing Aggro Katsu. Who am I gonna get paired up against? I get paired up against Dylan, another local who, I've played a ton of games with. I really like Dylan. We've gone back and forth. He's been playing Dorinthia. Funny enough, he's been playing a ton of Dorinthia lately. He's been working with Nick Kent, and I've been talking with both of them and a ton with Dylan back and forth about Dorinthia. And then he's the person I have to play to try and get to 4-2. And at the end of the game, literally at the end of the game, I'm holding an opportunity to win the game because we're down to 1 life each. So neither one of us have armor. Yep. I asked him if he had it. He showed it to me and picked up his deck, and I'm like, we're fine. Because my options were to try and play for another turn and block enough to survive that one. But then I was holding a blue and a razor playing Katsu, and he's on 1 life. So all I have to do is slide Kadachi out there holding 1 card, and he's in a position where he gives up his whole turn to 2 card block each one to not die to Razor, or he lets me kill him with Razor. So I'd like the next game. And it's funny because Dylan's main deck forever has been Katsu, and I showed him what I had in hand, and he goes, yep, I'd have kept it all day. I would have just risked it. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm a Dorinthia player, main playing Katsu, you're a Katsu main playing Dorinthia, and we literally acknowledged that what both of us did was the exact right circumstance. He had the correct hand, I had the correct hand, but I lost to the hand because his happened one turn earlier. And it's like that to me was one of those moments that I feel like my and Jason's game is, and Dane, you and Nick Kent's game is a product of when two players on decks play each other. That's what's beautiful about Fab. We all played the exact correct game. None of us made egregious errors, but that's where the minute RNG that exists in Fab kind of came through and said, this is the moment that will be decided by the heart of the cards, because the skill cap is so tight in those games that it really comes down to who draws the right cards at the right time, because the skill is just so tight in those matchups that no one is getting a skill advantage, which is, I actually love it. I have zero problem losing those games. I didn't feel bad at all losing to Jason or Dylan, in spite of the fact that I lost. It didn't really bother me. I felt like it was a high skill matchup that we just ground out and played exactly correctly, and what happened.
Yeah, I wish I could say that for all my games, but I made way too many mistakes, and I deserve to go 3-3. I got what I earned it. I earned it properly.
You earned your 3 wins and your 3 losses.
I absolutely did.
Yeah.
So I know the next one, just me. So hopefully I can bring something better back the week after next.
All the pressure's on.
Oh yeah, he won't
Yeah.
lose to
I don't
us,
feel like there's any pressure. I just need to figure out what deck I'm gonna play by this weekend, and then just run that one deck and then throw all my other cards away so I can't switch decks at the last minute, and I'll be fine.
Only bring that one deck.
We're gonna come back. We'll be like, Jason, how'd it go? What'd you run? He's gonna be like, dude, I was on Azalea. She was really calling to me. And be like, God damn it, Jason.
He's like,
You're right though. I am only bringing one deck with me this next time. I will not be bringing multiple decks. I'm bringing the one deck, and that's what I'm bringing.
I just imagine Jason telling us all week, man, I'm playing Chain, I'm doing it. And then we ask him how it went. And he's like, the night before, I just thought to myself, Reinar seems so much stronger than people aren't ready for him. And I just put it together the night before. I played a few games. I felt great.
Great.
How'd it go?
Good.
I went 1 and 5. I went 1 and
Not
5.
Good. I think the biggest thing, and I don't know how like Kale does it when he says he doesn't sleep. I did not sleep well the night before, and that affects me way too much. I actually need a good night's sleep, so I'm scared for the whole Vegas experience and the calling, because I don't know when we're gonna sleep there.
Time to practice on no sleep.
Practice playing with no sleep. So just wake me up at 3 in the morning. We'll have 3 in the morning jam sessions, half asleep. Oh, well, let's look at the rest of this world, because Blake once again pulled in a bunch of data and made charts. We're going to do a PowerPoint presentation. So get out your notebook and pencils. We want good notes on this. There will be a test at the end.
All right. So we are starting out with, we just skipping. So when Blake put this together, he skipped the individual graphs, and we just threw it all up on one. So it was all side by side from the get-go. So those should be up on screen now.
Is this the week or the overall?
This
that we're looking
is
this
this is this week's. Yep.
Okay.
And so important to note, Viserai won. We got it.
Yes.
There's missing data. Last week
Somebody
you
predicted
said
that. Didn't somebody predict that last week as their prediction?
Somebody
Blake,
said
yeah,
that.
that was Blake.
Somebody
Blake said
said
that.
that.
Yep.
I always predict everything.
Yeah, Blake said that.
I'm just gonna keep predicting Kano until
Son of a bitch.
I'm gonna predict Kano into existence.
I'm not giving it to you, Jason. I'm not giving it to you.
That's fine.
No, yeah, that was a solid prediction by Jason.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, no, this data is
6 different events that you have. For
6 events. Yep, I could find 6 events on the Facebook page as I was scrolling through. This is the 6 I found. We are missing again like a chunk of the overall representation. So the numbers on the overall aren't great because a lot of places are just doing top 8s and winners. So that's kind of tough. But that's why at the end, once we get through all this data, when we do the overall, we have overall bar graphs, but I actually did overalls and percentage pie charts because I think the conversion rates percentage wise is really interesting. So, but this week, I think the thing that stuck out to me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm definitely not, is that Levia broke the curse and made a top 8, meaning our poor girl Azalea continues to be the ugly duckling in the room who just can't even make a top 8. Even Levia makes a top 8.
That's great. My thing that I think is important to note is that Prism won.
Finally.
I mean, throw enough, dude. Blind squirrels find nuts too. It's one of my favorite sayings in this whole world. I love letting people know that even a blind squirrel find a nut every once in a while.
So
it's true.
I will piggy off that and say the thing that I recognize the most on this is people figured out a little bit better how to beat Katsu.
That's fair.
Yeah. Katsu's
he dropped off a lot. I know that some people have been working on beating his control. I think the aggro Katsu, you have to learn how to block. I mean, sometimes even if you block well, you can still lose to him, but if you block properly, you can beat him like any other deck in this game. So I think people learn they got Mugenshi Lord of the Wind for, 32, and they're like, God, I probably shouldn't let that one hit, or I should probably block the razor in the break scales on that one.
I should probably block with a one defense buffer there.
I'll block
just for the
4.
breaking scales.
Yeah,
I'll block all
4.
I'll block all 3 of it.
You do see that I have a resource in breaking scales. Yeah, I'm good. I'll just block 4. Okay.
Okay. Time for me to die. I also think there's something to be said for the fact that if you notice the top 8s, there's a ton of Bravo, which is a brutal matchup for Aggro Katsu. And then on top of that, more people are playing Boltyn. I think people are realizing Boltyn, I think, is the deck that was probably the least respected that is slowly gaining ground, right? He's that like kind of late season MVP candidate who comes on where people are realizing, man, this dude has had good numbers all year, but he just hasn't got the fanfare that these other heroes have. Because if you look at the way that he plays, he has play into so many different decks, but he doesn't have that feeling of inherent like brokenness of chain or crazy power that sometimes Prism can have. And he's just kind of steady Eddie. Every turn he's doing something, maybe not doing anything crazy, but then he has those turns where he just can just drop 25 on you and you go, oh, this is a problem. Like that's effectively what Katsu does. I think the difference between Boltyn and Katsu from at least our testing that I've noticed personally is that as somebody who's played a ton of Dory, it hurts sometimes in Ninja when you're forced to run a bunch of 2-block cards for their effects. Things like Snatch that run a good break point or Scar for a Scar. You run a ton of 2-blocks. If you're playing Boltyn, chances are almost your entire deck blocks for 3. So he's going to just efficiently block everything so much better. Playing Katsu when someone drops CNC, a little bit of pee comes out because it's like, cool. I mean, I'm just giving up my whole turn. This sucks. Like I hate everything. When you're playing Warrior, it's like, I hope you got the fucking pummel, because if you don't got the pummel, you ain't getting shit. And I'm gonna play with 3 cards. So
also, just to know one more time, overall representation, we are missing a lot of what was there just because Bravo did not go 12 for 12, because we had 3 Bravos just in our locals that missed top 8. So those are a little skewed, but not a lot. Bravo,
again, just like last week, just look at the ratios. Ratios are probably fairly safe unless there is like a local that just went nuts on Azalea or something.
But Bravo overall, I mean, if we're looking at winners and losers of the week, Chain is neither, because Chain has just stayed consistent through this so far. Bravo's the big winner, I think, this week. Just the fact that his numbers were up, his top 8s were up. He won an event against a lot of the good decks. And then Katsu's the big loser of not winning event, still represented heavily in only less than a third of his go through, which seems like he's a slow decline.
I mean, those are Prism numbers. Got to pump those numbers up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a Prism number right there. That's an issue. You can't be having that. I think Katsu is interesting too, because some of his the question with Katsu remains, what did they play? Were they playing control Katsu or aggro Katsu? Because that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But I think that if Bravo was able
Yeah,
to
if they're on
get
control Katsu, they're just
Yeah.
getting owned by Bravo.
exactly. So if it's mostly control Katsu, then that's why Bravo just kind of pushes through them. Like he just wades right through like dead Katsu's just laying on the ground when you show up. It's like, I'm gonna play control Katsu. It's like, oh, you're saying you're playing baby Bravo. Is that what you said? You're playing baby Bravo? Because that's what you're running if you're running control Katsu is baby
Baby need a
Bravo.
binky. Baby need
Yeah.
a binky.
Also, Dash down a lot. Where I mean, I figured she'd come back up a little bit more locally. Her numbers went down. I didn't play her, even though I said I was going to. I think we only had 1 or 2 that played locally for Dash.
Two. Was Kyle
So that
on
was
Dash
way
again?
down.
Well,
What's
Kyle
that?
wasn't at this. He wasn't at this RTN.
Oh, he didn't make this one. Okay, all right.
Yep, he didn't come.
Yep.
So it and I thought we were gonna see a Kano top 8 locally. Mr. Bates started off 3-0 with Kano.
Yeah.
And
I was rooting for him, dude. He was having a fun time. Then I just had to stop.
And then he ran into Prisms, which is a tough matchup for Kano.
Yep.
And
Chain.
Yeah.
Chain's rough. Yep.
I think Prism's almost worse. I mean, Chain's just Chain, and
yeah,
if they start off really, really strong, it's going to be a struggle for Kano.
Yeah.
If they have a slow start, then Kano maybe can pace them and go for the kill when they try to do their big turn. Be like, I'm going to try to kill you first.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah. So should we move on to total representation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, let me pull that bad boy up.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing about the total representation is that, honestly, if you look at the ratios of like the overall representation into top 8s, it's actually pretty fair. Like what is showing up is typically doing pretty well. There's not a ton of stuff that has really bad, conversion rates from overall into the top 8s, which is super interesting to me.
Except for Lavia. And Azalea.
Yeah. Levi and Azalea. Poor.
Yeah.
Although Dash's ratio isn't great, and neither is Reinar's. People are playing him because I think they love him, but they are just not.
Yeah, Dash you can just play her wrong.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I can see that. Same thing with Reinar. You put a skilled Reinar pilot, they can do a lot more damage than a new person. I don't think there's many autopilot decks. Chain would probably be the closest, but even him, I think you can be bad and get a lot easier to get lucky with Chain than any other deck.
Yeah. Chain has that feel of that deck archetype that every game has, where it definitely elevates at times bad pilots. A bad pilot can kind of dumb luck into a really good game, or a turn that can blow out even a good player, because you just, there's not a lot you can do if they get to 5 shackles or 6 shackles and they hit all of them, but most of them are seeds and they're buffing Riftbinds. You're like, well, I don't have a snag in hand and I haven't seen one this game, so cool. Guess I'll just die. Yeah. And that just happens sometimes with Chain, and that's kind of the anomaly about it. But then at the same time, sometimes you can grind those decks out and kind of, bad pilots can pay dearly for mispiloting Chain too.
Yeah.
So let's here's one thing I want to hit on all this overall representation. As we look at this, we're winding down. RTN season is winding down, right? Ends
we're
August
like halfway through it, right?
What, halfway or not even halfway?
Yeah. So
Would you,
Jason?
We have a couple weeks left.
Would you say that you're winding down in life right now? Like I'm winding down.
I guess
in my life.
locally, we have one left. We have one left.
Yeah, we have one
so
left.
We are winding down here locally. So sorry, I use that as an example, but most places don't have as many as we have as well. They might only have one this whole time in their state, or otherwise they're traveling. So as you look at this, are you switching decks? Are you pulling a me and going to switch decks? if you're a player out there, are you looking at chain and saying, wow, I just watched this amazing video that the Outcast Haven put on, and it showed Matt Rogers showing me how to play this amazing deck. I'm going to play that chain. Or do you stick with what you want? Because chain is still overall going to be represented more. Are we going to see that number even increase over? Is he going to bump over the Katsus by a lot now because control Katsus are getting scared with some of these new techs against control? Or are they, what happens now? I just want your guys' opinion on that.
I think this is the point where we start to see some meta shifting and people starting to kind of try to find ways to counter the deck that they think is the most powerful. So they try to play a deck that feels good into the field, but beats best deck, right? I think that's where we've hit in the meta. So the question is, what effectively beats chain, or what can most efficiently beat chain? Because that's a deck that I think everybody is going to see a bunch of. So then that's where I think
that's one reason we saw Bravos.
Right. I think we saw Bravos because of that. I think if people are tested on it and played a lot, I think Bolton has really good game into chain because he goes so fast, so early. And honestly, the thing that's interesting about Bolton is because his deck is so cost efficient, I think at times he's better aggressively than what Katsu can do. Because Katsu can brick. If you draw all reds or if you draw a costed hand and you don't have that 0 cost blue to kind of give you those cheap Kadachis and set up potential masks and stuff. And Bolton a lot of times just goes ham. And if he can't, he can block out so goddamn efficiently. Like he can block with 3 cards for 9 and then play a card from Arsenal, charge the last card in his hand, just push like 4 back with a hit effect, a draw or a goes to soul, and it feels good. He had a fine turn after taking 0 damage.
And spoiler alert, that's one of the decks that I started playing as one of my choices for the. I was really scared of them because, one, I don't like to read cards when they first come out. I'm just going to admit it. People say read the card. I don't always like reading them. I just want to play and see what it is, and I'll figure it out as I'm going through there.
God damn it! I love you, Jason.
As I've played him more and more, I'm a person, I just want to know what the card does. And so I do a quick skimming. You can't do quick skimming a lot of times or anytime. You just can't do that. And I know I've made fun of people for telling them to read the damn card. I don't read the card at first. Just don't. So as I've played this deck, I've got more and more comfortable, but there's still 30 to 40 more games that I need to run with this deck to get to a Dash or Bravo level or a Kano Blitz level where I just know what I'm doing, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to accomplish on every single turn, which is very important. Going into every turn, I always go back to Jacob Pearson when he was on here and we did the interview of he knew when the person across from was doing their turn, he knew what cards he was blocking with because he knew what he was going to do on his turn, had the decision made, knew what was happening, knew his deck so well. That's the comfort level I think you need to be in. Not necessarily the road to Nats, but for sure going into a call-in when you're playing as long as you're going to be playing at a calling, you need to be at that comfort level of a deck. So that's what I'm trying to get to with Bolton.
Yeah, worth noting too that I think that once you need to be to that comfort level probably at a minimum, and then you also need to be practiced into other decks enough to know this is what's probably coming at me. This is the threat. This is what I'm putting my hand into. Like they arsenaled a card. They've got 3 cards in hand still, and they're hesitant to block. They've probably got the natural whelming. Like I'm blocking that whelming because if they want to drop a card to hunt it, that's fine. Like I'm taking the whelming, right? So it's like knowing what you're committing to because you know the opponent's deck too is huge. Like that's huge to know what you're stopping. So
I mean, I think it's also important that to that point, you know what you have to stop and how your deck efficiently stops it, or whether it can't efficiently stop it. So you have to be able to do something in response to it, right? Like not every deck can even say, oh, I'll just stop the whelming, or I'll stop the surging, or I'll stop the Lumina. So you know that at the end of it's like Bolton is at some point going to go take flight Lumina or take flight double Lumina. How do you efficiently stop that? And I think sometimes you just look at your deck and you go, I can't efficiently stop that. So I either have to have a health buffer going into that turn, or I have to get them to a point where they don't have the health buffer to absorb a turn to go into that turn with a full hand. Right. And those are all things that are, to your point, Dane, very deck specific concepts that you have to understand, because all of us at times, right, have tested a deck for the first time or two or three, and you don't have a lot of experience on it. You block with something, and maybe someone's watching who knows the deck, and you just hear that, like that sound where they go, oh, no.
That's what Kyle did to me when I lost with Dash the first round, and then told me after. Well, I mean, he didn't make the sound, but immediately after, he's like, you missed this. And I'm like, oh, I did. Yeah, maybe I should have practiced a little bit more before I changed on that one.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch some of these decks and how meta, because at this point, right, I think we can transition to maybe the better representation of what is happening, which is, to me, when we transition to the percentages, because that, honestly, this is the conversion rate at more of a correct scale in terms of what we're seeing. Because realistically, when you're looking at the percentages of the overall representation, even though we don't see everything, the only way those change much is if one meta is just, there's 50 people there and 40 of them are playing Prism, then we obviously skewed the numbers a little bit. But I think overall representation is pretty general. And the thing that is interesting to see is that Chain continues to prove that he's the most consistent. But I think the reason Bolton probably deserves more respect is because if you look at him, he's got a 6% overall representation, a 7% top 8 representation. And oh, hey, look at that. When he goes to top 8, he seems to have good game into other decks that make top 8, because he does a pretty good job of converting those opportunities into wins. So that to me just kind of screams, hey, maybe we should be considering Bolton a little bit.
No, I'm on the Bolton train. I'm light train, baby. I'm light train from Monarch.
I just like to be able to use my Cataclysm mat. Just looks pretty.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I got on there. That Herald of Erudition mat is so good. I love it.
Just calm down. Don't get too excited now, right? This is not the Waifu Black Coffee anime special.
F off, dude. No. I'm so satisfied with like my whole get up now. I got the cold foil auras. It's all good. Oh, dude. Sorry. I just had the realization. So I canceled my wedding. It just wasn't working out. No. I canceled my wedding because of COVID. So we're not doing like the get together anymore on the 21st. So Chelsea, if you're hearing this might be for the first time. I'm going to try and go to that road to nationals because I'm no longer getting married that day.
I will still be out of town regardless. So
yeah, it's fine.
I will not be making it.
That just clicked. I'm sorry. I had no idea.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I just don't know what to say about that. It's a very odd thing to be excited about.
What? Oh no, we're still, the important stuff still we're still getting married. We're still going on the honeymoon. We're still doing all the stuff. It's just like that get together ceremony is no longer happening because
Jason, that's what we call a silver lining.
Yeah. Road to nationals, baby. Let's go.
So what are either one of you a part of the new so we had a club, the Ira Hate Club, Dylan. Mm-hmm. So is anybody else a part of? He'll love that. You son of a bitch. Just so you know, like segue, our local buddy Dylan won with Ira at a fun Blitz thing. So and he brings Ira, and so I'm going through the winners at the end, and I go, and winner with Ira, Dylan. I mean, it's just like, who brings Ira to a fun little armory? I mean, Dylan, the XP points aren't that important. You can lose a game and go down 3.
I think the best part about it was finding out that he was messaging Adam and Cortez, another couple local guys, asked him how it went, and he said, I won, and he said that either Adam or Cortez immediately responded with Ira ? And then he said yes, and they said, "Oh, had to bring the helmet out for this one, huh, buddy?" So it's like he couldn't even get like a pat on the back from his own like tighter play group. It's like these are like his testing buddies, and even they're just dogging and be like, "Ira, really, man? Helmet just."
I was
Have that
happy.
in.
I threw a chain Blitz deck together real quick that I had. I just threw some cards in there, and I don't know, it was kind of fun. I'll change it up. I'm on the so Blake has done this religiously for a long time, and that's change decks every time we do our local armories. Never runs the same deck, and I don't know if I have, to be honest, but I enjoy doing that as well, because as we just spoke about matchups, you actually learn all the other matchups just by at these local fun events, just throwing a deck that you don't play and running through it and finding, you know, how it operates. I think it makes you a better player overall by doing that. But
Yeah.
we've enjoyed that. I forgot what I was originally, even what my whole point was.
I threw it
Just
off with the wedding thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
okay. Hold on.
I sidetracked myself too. I do that sometimes. Like
We went
throw
sidetrack to
myself through.
sidetrack. Yeah, when we used to do, sometimes we do clever segues where we don't make it obvious. I like the more obvious version where we just go segue, and we just announce that we don't have a predetermined segue.
Damn it,
So we're just
Blake.
gonna say segue.
You know
It was
what's-
about the chain. Is there a chain hate group? Are you guys on
Oh,
I
okay.
hate
Yeah.
chain?
There it is. I found it.
Because I really
Found
don't
where it is.
care. I know Mr. Dane is not a fan of chain.
No, I don't hate Shane.
Never has been.
I don't play him.
He doesn't like
I don't
the art.
want.
He
I
doesn't
don't
like
want
the
to
art.
play him. No, see, I actually don't mind the art. Shane's art's not bad. Like it's not like the grotesque
love
Levi
his art.
art. Like I think it's fine. I have no problem with Shane. Like pretty much across the board. I just have zero interest in playing him.
Right. No, so I don't know if a lot of,
Yeah.
because I know that chain hate is starting to be a thing, and people want to just see him, you know, hit 1,000 points. See you later, chain. You know, it's good to know ya.
Yeah.
Mm.
Go back to whatever you were doing with that outfit earlier today.
Quick little thing for people who would like maybe the math on that, because I don't know if maybe people are like, I hope he just keeps winning so he can get banned and he can get legendary status. So far what I've been able to find with last week's results and the 6 I found this week are 7 chains of 1. Real quick math lesson. You get 6
42?
points. You get 6 points for a road to nets. That's 42. That's a hell of a long way from 1,000. He's gonna have to absolutely destroy this road to net season, all of calling season, and
But he can
again,
only get
spoiler
one
alert,
calling
he
because
can
the other
only-
two are drafts or
he can only
sealed.
win. He can only win 2 callings of the 4 that are announced in the U.S. So legendary status doesn't look super likely for him.
They're drafting Monarch, aren't they?
No, they're drafting.
Yeah, but he
Tales of
wouldn't get
Aria.
living legends on a draft.
You don't get living legend for a draft. I don't think. I think it's different because that's the young hero too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And they won't they be drafting Arya by then? Kingdoms?
Yes.
I thought it was.
I'm
still
pretty
Monarch.
sure. I'm pretty sure Arya is because that's what they're gonna. The events are gonna be played on
For
Tails.
the last Orlando, which I looks like am not going to be going to that at all now that I have to go to Virginia for a lacrosse tournament the weekend after. I don't know how I'm going to swing all that. So
Just stay in
stay down
Orlando
there,
for the
dude.
week.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
drive up. What are you talking about? It's easy.
Back and
Yeah.
forth. Stay in
it
Orlando.
makes
Drive
it
up to
very,
Virginia.
very difficult. So maybe a road trip to Cincy comes back on the plate. I don't know. There's just too much going on.
You have to, dude. Come on, let's go. I want someone
I
to
think
come
I'm in
with me to one.
Wisconsin Dells for a lacrosse tournament the weekend before that. This is what happens
Dude,
when your son gets
Mason can
promoted in
drive.
lacrosse.
What are you doing? Mason's got a
Just
car.
send him.
Go.
Send him to Virginia.
Go.
Let me know when
Just
you get to
some gas
Virginia,
money.
Mason.
Get yourself some McDonald's after the tournament. Get the hell
Don't
outta
pick
here.
up. Don't pick up people from the side of the road. Problem solved. Like that's easy. Easy mode. If a girl at a gas station says she thinks you're cute, just get in your car and drive away. She doesn't think you're cute. You're gonna go to prison.
Jason,
That's a valuable life lesson.
Mason's like,
valuable
but I am cute. What am I supposed to do with that?
Now I have conflicting information in my brain. I know I'm
Oh.
cute. Yeah, I don't. And it'll be interesting to see. I know people are already tired of chain, which is kind of funny because if you think about previous metas, we weren't around for the dash meta, but you listen to people talk about dash, and sometimes like the control dash meta gives people like PTSD. You can see it in their eyes, right? Like if you talk to a war vet, like they just look hollow for a moment. Like you just like, so you played back when dash was a thing, right? And there's a second where they just look dead in the eyes. They're like, yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah, I
people hated
remember
Dash.
Dash.
It's the same. This is the same hate we have for Ira. Just hope she keeps winning and gets the points and gets the hell out of here.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of those things are going to take way longer than people are anticipating already.
They will.
Because
They will.
It's going to take
It can't be fast.
forever. Yeah, and I mean to really look at things, if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, the game doesn't need living legend status to be the problem solver for the game. If that's the problem solver, a deck is way more powerful than what we're giving anything credit for. If living legend status solves a deck that just came out a couple months ago within 1 calendar year, that deck is so broken that we don't have to worry about chain being a problem on the game in terms of like long term, because games that let that kind of stuff exist that long and that oppressively don't last for very long. But if we've seen anything in this game, look at Dash. Dash was oppressive. People hated Dash, and now it's good,
like,
it's consistent, but
they're like, hey, just play this other format for like 6 months until we give you a more broken deck. Just forget about that. That little dash, don't worry about that little dash. Just play some Blitz. Shut up. We're going to give you a more broken deck to forget all about dash.
Okay, you brought up a great point. That's funny because talking about this other format, when we were going to play, nobody wanted to play CC. Nobody wanted to play CC, right?
That
now
was miserable,
locally,
dude.
Nobody wants to play Blitz anymore. They're like, CC is so fun. It's like, we told you that it was better. Nobody listened. You got forced to play it. Webcams got forced to play it. Everybody loves it. CC, everybody loved Blitz. Oh, you play it. Now you love CC because it's amazing.
The irony of it is the fact that we don't just say that like, oh, people tell us that they don't like it. They say they don't like it. No. Locally, understand that we can just show you the proof. So here's an excellent proof of that. Tuesday at the Source at our normally 16 plus person locals, there were 11 people, and that was with 2 people showing up at the absolute last minute. We thought there were going to be 9 people at locals, which single digit locals at the Source just doesn't happen. And everybody who came to play Blitz pretty much brought a meme deck or something they were just having fun with, except Dylan. He brought Ira. And
he didn't get the memo.
He didn't get the memo that we were all having a fun time. Even Nick Kent. Nick was like, I'm playing Viscera. And I was like, I love you so much, Nick.
Played Cov Dane. I was a little jealous because I didn't have time to build Cov Dane, but
yeah. And he played like the zero. There's like a 0 cost Cov Dane where he was just playing like against Jason. I walked over and saw the board state and I was like, Jason, it looks like bad things are happening to you. And I think Andrew had played like 15 cards. It was like, looked like a Kano or a chain, like combat chain. There were just cards everywhere.
It was 1-1 after 2 turns. And his 2 blocks is what lost him the game because I only had to do 1 damage. I mean, we literally just pummeled the shit out of each other the first 2 turns, and it was like 1-1. And that's when you came over. You're like, what is happening with this game?
Yeah, it was an instant moment where I was like, I thought I had a fast game when Yang went. He went E-Strike, Plunder Run from Arsenal. So I'm playing into Chain. Yang's playing Chain. I'm playing Kano. I have 15 health. Okay, just so everyone remembers. He plays turn 1. I don't have anything to do. I had like a really red hand, so I just tried to quick get rid of stuff in my hand. I did a little damage to him, and then he goes Plunder Run from Arsenal, E-Strike for 10. I was like, well, that's a lot. Like this is a problem with Snapdragon sitting there. So I was like, I mean, I just don't want to take a bunch of damage because I have a red hand. I can't really do anything in return. So I just blocked a bunch of it. And then he goes, pop Snapdragon. So I was like, okay. He goes, Command and Conquer for 6. Am I a joke to you? Like, how, you just have 16 damage. You have more damage in 2 cards than I have in my life. And that was pretty much the end. The game ended before it even started. Like, I didn't even take my Tunic in that game. It was so bad. So bad. But it reminded me why I was like, Blitz is good if you're just doing dumb stuff and you're playing combo decks. But I kind of want Blitz to be almost like what Commander is to Magic, where everyone's trying to win on some dumb combo. It's like, I'm trying to do this one really dumb thing and you're trying to do a dumb thing. Let's both try to do our dumb thing faster than the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm playing Kano. I'm going to try and stir fork you as fast as humanly possible. That's the only thing I care about, is hitting stir forked. So what's your stupid combo? You do it back to me.
I just want you to go, oh, I can't block that when I'm playing Benji. That's all I want. Is I just want to come at you with a 2 unblockable cards from hand. And I get to say that. 2 unblockable cards from hand. Just Jason just fucking
That's why
red,
my goal
red
when
in
I
the
play
face,
that.
like,
I always try to say unblockable from hand before you say it. It's kind of like when I'll mouse over your deck when we're playing on TTS and I'm playing Bravo. I'm like, oh, you only have 36 cards in deck. I have 42. Just checking. Just checking
all game long. Yeah.
I
what
love
do you
doing
guys?
that.
Nothing else for you guys tonight.
Yeah.
By the way.
I don't have anything else. The only question I was curious is if you guys think it's time for the big predictions, right? What do you think?
This week's RTM predictions.
Yeah,
this week's RTM predictions. So what do you think is there going to be a surprise winner, or is there going to be another surprise? Someone getting blanked? Because obviously we don't know for sure that Katsu got blanked. But
Azalea top 8.
Azalea's getting
top 8. Yep, somebody's going to figure out some crazy thing.
Nope.
That's probably not going to happen. I should get something a little more realistic.
Every week, I'm going to say the same thing. Kano is going to win a Road to Nationals.
So I'm going to say a 30% uptick in all Bolton activity.
Okay.
You're going to see more representation, more top 8s, and we'll get a winner from Bolton this next week.
That's not how 30% works, just so we're clear. 0 to 1 is not a 30%. But anyways, we'll pass that.
I'm saying the representation is going to be 30% uptake. Bolton, what does he have? 1 win?
I know what you're saying, Jason.
Bolton
I think Prism's going to have 2 wins. Prism's going to have 2 wins.
Kano's going to win a Road to Nationals. As soon as Kano wins, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to clip it. I'm going to post it everywhere. I'm like, I'm a genius.
Subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to our channel.
I will say there is a world, and we saw, if you didn't see our live stream and see the 21 cards played by Dave
when he was
playing Wizard.
He saw 25 cards of his deck when it was all said and done.
Right.
Between the ops and putting them in
I remember my best ever 16, and he beat that by 9. That's not even close. My highest ever with Kano 16, and he had 9.
He did
more than that.
Much.
He
did so much.
I had 32 life.
Health. Yeah.
He got me to 6.
What were you at the end?
6.
Yeah, the 6.
He did 20. He did 26 damage and saw 25 cards.
Yeah.
And didn't use his talismanic lens and didn't pop his Storm Striders.
That's true. Right. He saved that for the next turn.
Insane.
After he arsenaled the Fork Lightning.
Yes.
After it was all said and done, he arsenaled the Fork Lightning. It was like, I'm just gonna save this for next turn with the Storm Striders.
And then I love the fact that he pointed out at the end of the game that he never even used his lens. He's like, I didn't even break my lens. Like, okay, you already killed me. You already won. You didn't have to tell me how to feel worse about myself, Dave. No, I love Dave. I love Dave.
So there is
the guy who's notorious for being like, all right, I know I just won, but also check this out. I could have won with this too after that, or this after that, and then just in case you had an answer for these 2 things, I also had this in Arsenal. It's like, okay, great, dude, you won. I got it. You won 3 times. Fine.
To be fair, I think that's more like I'm sometimes that's my mentality is less like, hey, I beat you 3 times, and more like it's okay that you lost to this because there was no way you were not losing. Like
Just
this turn
establishing
was
that dominance.
you were
Yeah.
establishing the dominance. Like the Anthony at DBS, Anthony is like the king of like the strong stand. I like to establish my dominance after I win games.
So that's gonna be the new thing now. People, after you win your game, be like, so not only did I kill you, but here's what else I could have done that I spared you from.
Yeah.
It would be
You
more
dying
impressive.
Now, yeah, you dying now saved you pain. Just think about it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
God.
I'm gonna win with Kano sometime without popping Storm Shredders, just so I can say that I won with Kano without using
I've
Storm
done that
Shredders.
before. I've played
Like,
so
I
many
don't even
games
use
with
my
Kano. I have
Striders.
done that before.
I'm gonna do it in CC.
It feels bad though. You're like,
All
"God,
my
I
equipment.
wasted those
I'm not even
nice
gonna use them.
boots."
Not even gonna use the Metacarpus nodes. I'm gonna keep all my equipment intact and win a game.
It's one of those things where at the end of the game you go to pitch for Kano and you're like, oh, there's the kill, but I can still pop my Storm Striders first and then really kill them.
Mega kill him. Double damage
Mega
kill.
kill them. But now that's the thing now. I think trying to win without popping Striders and be like, yeah.
Yep.
And at the end, be like, yeah, I didn't even pop my Striders, dude. I mean,
I still have-
fucking suck.
I didn't even
Why
use my
stop
talismanic
Striders?
lens.
Why stop there, man? Just run all Iron Rot. Not even just Iron Rot.
I didn't even run the boots.
Yeah.
Iron Rot Kano.
Why do you need anything else? Just an old, scraggly old wizard. His old rotten armor, just flinging lightning and fire. All right, guys.
I'm gonna use armor that doesn't make sense though. That would be better.
Just from different
Snapdragons.
Merchant's Hood.
Dude,
I'm all
that
about
would
Snapdragons.
imagine the hesitance of
Someone's just watching you play. You got Snapdragons. Are like, what the hell is going on
Dude,
right
that
now?
is so good. That just sounds fun. That just sounds fun to mess with.
That's
somebody.
that's a post road to nationals pre-calling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Local for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. I love that idea.
All right, guys. We are coming up on an hour 15, hour 20 here, so just want to get real, lots of jokes and stuff, but like a year of doing this has been so fun and so satisfying, and we've learned so much from you guys, the community, people in the comments, from the friends that we've made. It's just been a blast, and we love the fact that you guys give us constructive criticism, that you give us this feedback, but also that you like give us the support when you do like stuff that we're doing, because it helps shape what we do and what we put out for content. So that's one of those things that we don't want to see slow down, and we actually hope that going forward in this next year we see a lot more of that. So now that we have our community button, expect to see some surveys, stuff like that get thrown out there as far as what you guys want to see next, what the thoughts are for our community, because that's going to shape a lot of the content that we're going to be putting out. We're going to do a little bit of a shake-up, a little bit of a reevaluation, nothing drastic, but we've been hitting the Tuesday night live streams and the Friday podcasts pretty consistently here, if we do say so ourselves. But we're going to look at reevaluating sort of what the community wants, like what they like with what we're currently doing, what we could add. But all being family men, it's a little bit hard to find time for doing everything that we want to do. No more black coffee and anime, per Jason's request. Just couldn't do it.
Unless the community page says it.
Yeah, unless
If Jason has to just suck it and let it happen.
if you leave comments,
If they do it, I'm just gonna delete their comments.
damn it, you have access. I get to see them. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you've been a supporter from the beginning, or if you just joined on, appreciate all the love in the comments and in the community. You guys, anything to say?
Yeah. I mean, if you guys
fun ride, looking forward for the next year.
Yep. If you guys have any comments or anything like memories or stuff like that's something that's super fun too, is to listen to everybody's like, oh man, I remember on this live stream this happened or something. Those are fun things. We love that so many of the subscribers have been so interactive with us over the last year. And it's funny when we have live streams and somebody misses a live stream or we don't see somebody, and it's actually kind of weird. Rave when talked about missing the live stream, and I was like, yeah, like I totally noticed when he's not there because he's usually so active in the comments. And just if you guys have any memories too, we love to hear them as well. We love having you guys be a part of this. important that you're here, because obviously we wouldn't do this if it wasn't for people interacting with us. That's why Black Coffee and Anime went away, because 19 views told us you did not want us to continue making it.
Jason, your thoughts before I throw in a little cherry on top?
My thoughts. I don't know. It's been insane. I never thought that we would get to this point. You know, it just
Yes, you
just
did.
to have
you had
fun
confidence. Come on, don't.
I mean, I had some confidence,
shows
but
taglines.
it was the beginning. Like it just for me personally, it was awkward. Really awkward. And I've said this before. It was awkward to sit in a room by yourself, staring at a screen, talking. It's just weird, and to be now where you feel very comfortable with it. It makes it easier for conversations everywhere, public speaking, everything. It just helps. It's helped so much more than just play a card game and have fun with friends. So it's been amazing. I love it. I think I need to get another PSA in my underwear, though. I think that's been a missing part. I only did one of those, so I probably should pop another one of those out. I mean, especially if Matt can be in his Hugh Hefner
sauna
robe, I
robe.
can
Yeah,
do
man.
something in my underwear.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a thing on the channel.
All right. Well, for the cherry on top, I set a goal for us to hit 1,000 during the live stream, because I really wanted to hit it during the live stream. I thought that'd be cool to be able to be all pumped up, all of us excited on the live stream. But it is still a week, so what I'm gonna do is we are still gonna be giving away the first edition box of Tales after release weekend. I get my boxes. I'm going to be shipping this to one lucky commenter, and I just want to hear in the comments what your favorite memory was from the past year, whether it was something, some gameplay, some comment somebody said, an interaction on Facebook, whatever it was. I have the power right now to force you to walk down memory lane with me, and I want to be reminded of the year, because like just some of the stuff that like Jason mentioned about, I forgot about Black Coffee and Anime, so now I want to know. And I'm giving away a Tails to one lucky commenter, so give me that. That's all I got.
Till next week.
Till next week. Thanks for joining us. Peace.